In today's episode, I'm sitting down with cousins Aimee Pelletier and Carly Stipe, who opened Darn Knit Anyway, a full service brick and mortar yarn store that also has a robust e commerce platform, a maker's lounge, and does some really cool things with classes and events. You're going to hear about it in this episode. Really, this episode is about the community, connecting deep with your community. And I think that you might get some ideas on ways you could do this through all the different things that Carly and Aimee are doing. Or it may release you if you have any blocks of trying to do something new, something you've been wanting to do, but you're holding yourself back. I think there's some really great lessons through Aimee and Carly's story that we talk about today that might help you show up, put yourself out there, grow your business. And you'll hear that through what they've done with their store. Very inspiring, a lot of wisdom. And I just loved this conversation. They have been a scale client of ours. We love working with them. They're such a great client. And as you can imagine, if you go to their social media and you'll hear in this episode, they've got a lot of personality. So they make it a lot of fun to work with. And they see such great success and results because of that personality. These things we talk about in the episode. You've got to show your authentic self and be you. And they do such a good job of this. So we're talking about it all in this episode. Let's dive in. Welcome to Rooted in Retail. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis. Here we have engaging and informative conversations with successful indie retailers and industry experts. Together, we learn, connect, and grow. Don't miss our live after the show every Tuesday night in the Rooted in Retail Facebook group. All right, here's today's episode. Aimee and Carly, welcome to Rooted in Retail. I'm thrilled you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a loaded conversation because we're going to talk about a lot because you ladies are doing a lot. But before we dive in, will you take a couple of minutes and share your retail journey and what made you start the store?
Sure. I have a degree in interior design, and I did interior design in a commercial setting, and I sold office furniture for a living. It's what I did for 15 years. And my company was getting bought out, and it was time for me to do something different. I wasn't sure what that would be. A few years before that, I had joined a networking group full of women, and I had met many entrepreneurs in that group who were insurance agents, graphic designers, salon owners, small business owners. And I joined to sell office furniture to these women, but found that I was very inspired by them. I didn't really have entrepreneurship we don't really have it in our families. It opened my eyes a little bit to the possibilities of what could be next. And when I decided I was not going to continue with the new company, I was still commuting to the old job, and I drive past what is now our retail space. I drove past it twice a day, every day. And it had a for lease sign in the window. And I drove past and I thought that would be a great spot for a yarn store. Stillwater doesn't have one. There's not one very close. I didn't ever work retail. I never thought about opening a yarn store. It had never been something I had considered, but it just felt like it would be a good spot for one. Carly and I are cousins. Our grandmother taught us to knit when we were kids. So we shopped in yarn stores, certainly, but didn't really understand what a yarn store was.
Yeah.
Of course, until it was open. But so I mean, I knew they existed and I had shopped in them. And so I drove home that day and I said to my husband, I think I might try to put a yarn store in that dress shop space. And he said, you probably should write a business plan. And I was like, well, what's a business plan? I had no idea. And so I went to Office Max and I bought business plan software and I loaded it in my computer and we did it. We did it. Yeah. And the people who helped us do it were the people I had met in that women's networking group. The graphic artists, the banker, all of those people were our biggest supporters at the time. And honestly, Carly was helping out Natty G, taught us to knit. She was a personal care assistant for her. And so I went to Carly and my nannies one day and I said, I think I'm going to open a yarn store. Do you want to do it with me? And she was like, sure. So
Nanny,
yeah.
son, what a nanny's this.
She said, all you need is a comfortable chair. That's
Oh,
all. That's her advice for us was
Yeah.
just we needed
oh
help.
my gosh.
So
Just
I love it.
people we're gonna want to sit.
you were going to want to say that. Yeah.
Yep.
So Carly has been a, integral part of the shop since day one. So yeah, that
Wow.
was, yeah. And that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Now we have 14 employees, four of whom are, including us, are full time. And the business has grown significantly. So yeah,
Congratulations. That's an
yeah.
incredible story. I love that it's just I think a yard store would be great in that building and I'm gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
you bet on yourself and you showed up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it wasn't like I was a very passionate knitter either. I knew how to knit and Carly did, and it was
Well,
something
we thought we knew how to knit.
right. Yeah,
There was so much to learn.
yeah. There was so much
Yeah.
more we learned.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, I bet.
but it was mainly because I wanted to make money too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a hobby business. I knew that it was something we had to invest in and spend money on, and
Yeah, for sure. Well, and you can tell that you treat this as a business and not a hobby business because everything that you're giving, you're doing so many events, you're so involved with the community. We're going to talk about these things today, but I want to talk about you. Let's start with your social media because we work with you in the social media sense. I have a social media background and you ladies bring so much personality to your content. You show people I'm encouraging everybody to go check out your social. We'll link to everything to see what I'm talking about. But you do these sandwich board reels every day where it's just you change out the saying. It's something fun, funny, relatable to your customers. You have music and that's it. And some of these have gotten as high as 1 million views. Like,
I know that was so exciting.
yes.
That just happened in the last few months. I was
Wow.
so excited.
Yeah.
yes,
So awesome. And I read these comments and people are engaging and they're saying, yep, I laughed at that when I walked by today. Like you're reaching a large audience, but you're certainly still connecting with your locals and your customers. And there's so much personality. So I would love to know, can you talk about the strategy behind bringing authentic voices to your marketing and how this blend of humor and personality plays a role in attracting and retaining your customers?
sure. Well, first of all, we find it hilarious that you think we have a strategy or had a strategy. Um, because certainly when we opened, we had no strategy of any kind. Carly had three kids under 10. I had a 5 and a 6-year-old. We were really just trying to get by.
Yeah.
And, we come from a very large, loud, fun, caring kind family.
That believes the good things will happen.
Yeah, like we
Love
just
it.
are positive, half glass half full people.
Yeah.
And
And we laugh a lot.
we do
I
laugh a
love
lot.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
No, and I think that
Yeah.
just, we are family and we told the story of our grandma, our Nanny Jean, very early in the history of our shop. And so I think we share lots of family, personal things. I certainly do in the blog, talk about
Yeah.
lots of family things. And so I think it just makes people feel more connected to us. And
Yep.
they then can share things with us that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. And the sandwich board we've been doing for the whole time the shop's been open. You had that sandwich board. In fact, we just replaced the sandwich board
Yeah.
for the first time
Oh,
in a
wow.
dozen years. Yeah.
I
But
know, yeah.
and we did it just for our amusement and then, to bring people into the store. It was only really since Carly started sharing it on socials that we had to actually have a strategy
Yeah.
for the sandwich boards.
Yeah.
So it has become a thing. And now our whole team participates and they all give us ideas on what we can put on the sandwich boards. And that has become certainly something bigger than we imagined. People ask for sandwich board stickers. And so now we have a whole thing, a
Oh,
whole strategy about our sandwich boards. But that really did. It was the social
Yeah.
media that really,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that was from joining with you guys and then listening to all the calls with staff about what does a still image do? Because at first we were just putting them up as a still image as well, or like an
Mhm.
afterthought even. And then I was inspired to put it as a video and then to music, like match up the music because I find that really fun. To,
oh, for
like,
sure. Well,
have them
I-
either become polar opposites, like ironic music, or
Yep.
music that goes with it. So
Start that. I think we've always just been authentically ourselves. And luckily people like us. And, we're just honest, authentic.
yeah, you're pretty much seeing who we are.
Yeah.
We laugh at the dumbest stuff.
Yeah.
And now we know other people do too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I love about this, there are business owners, not just retailers, business owners who there is fear around being yourself. And if you laugh at the dumb things, they feel like, oh, but nobody else would, or they care about what other people will think, or oh, that doesn't match what I sell, so I'm not going to post it. But it actually does the opposite. It actually helps people connect to your brand. And the fact, am I understanding that you created now like a product line out of the sandwich boards? Like people want, I mean,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Way to just listen to the audience and be adaptable and create something out of that. And plus, you mentioned your blog, Aimee. I loved reading the blog. I also encourage people to go check that out because you could tell it's just like what's on your heart, what's on your mind, connecting with your customers, with your family. It's really meaningful, but it's not like this long novel. It's easy to get through. It has a message and you'll have so many people commenting and that's hard. It's hard to get the engagement on a blog and getting people to comment. And I was reading these comments and people were just really connecting with you and it's because you're just being you and you're being authentic and you're sharing. So I hope that inspires anybody that's listening to this to be them, to share what's on their heart, on, if it's in a blog, on social media, because it really will connect to your customers.
Yeah, agreed. I love writing. I should do it more. And I
Yeah.
like to ask questions of
Mm.
people and I like to observe things. And I get a lot out of writing. So I do love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying so.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're great. I loved it so much. I love that you take the time to do it. And I know your customers do too. So you got to do more.
Yeah.
You're feel pulled to do more. It's so awesome. If you're a retailer and you have a brick and mortar storefront and you're doing at least $600,000 in revenue a year and you're looking to grow your business, then our scale package could be something that could really help you. This is a done for you offering as well as an education, accountability, and support offering where you have access to several of my team members who basically join your team to help scale your store and achieve your goals. And some of these goals might be to drive more foot traffic, get more people to your events, get more people watching your live sales, grow your email list, your loyalty program, grow sales. That's what we're helping our scale clients do. So this offering is $2,400 a month. And you have access to several team members who are enthusiastic about growing your store. We love working with our scale clients. We've seen phenomenal results. And if this is something that you need help with, then you can go to crystalmediaco.com/scale and learn more about that offering there. You can also book a call with Pauline on that page. And that might be a great next step for you to book that call so she can learn about your goals, your customer, your store, and see how we can support you. There's a very good chance that we can scale your store through that program. And we'd love to do it. So head on over to crystalmediaco.com/scale to learn more. Yeah, so you are such a vibrant community hub and something that I really love that you created is these makers lounge, your makers lounge. And so I want you to talk about what the lounge is, how that got started, and then why really how has that transformed your relationship with your customers? Because this is like a whole nother aspect to your store. So share
Yeah.
how'd that come to life?
Sure. So we have always had a very dedicated group of makers who have met since we opened, many since we opened, who just wanted a community and a place, and we provided that for them. They just were able to come and hang out. During COVID, though that group continued to meet, they
And sit outside.
yeah, in beautiful weather, they sat in the grass up front. In crummy weather, they sat in the hallway behind us. So they just continued to meet. Really, it was them that continued that. We offered the space, but they certainly did that. And during COVID, we started shipping a lot more, doing a lot more online sales. And so the space that we used for that in the store had been taken up by shipping and boxes and receiving and another office. Like we kind of adapted to do that. And so when we were able finally to bring people back to the store, we kind of brainstormed on how were we going to do that. What were we going to do? We didn't want to sacrifice shipping area, and certainly we didn't want to. We were selling more online than ever, and we didn't want to sacrifice that. So we kind of explored a space upstairs in this building, which wasn't right. And we have shared a wall with a restaurant the whole time we've been here. It's been a few different restaurants. And of course, during COVID, they closed, like many did. And one day we were just working in the yellow room, we call it. And
A similar thing happened.
yeah, so like Carly said, we were joking about what to do. And Carly said, we should just knock a hole in the wall and take over Smallies, is what the
We were
restaurant is
like,
called. And I said, do you actually do that? And she was like, well, I don't know. And so, yeah, I called the building and talked to them. And luckily we work with Retail Mavens, Kathy at Retail Mavens, and she always makes me look at the realism of the things I want to do. And so I basically wrote another business plan and run to Kathy this time. And she said, I think you can actually do this. Yeah, I think you should do this. So we did.
yeah.
It was actually really fun. We cut a tiny little hole in the wall first. And Carly did some great social media about it. It was like we just peered into the hole, like what's coming.
Yeah.
And so for a number of weeks, we kind of played that up, which was really fun. And then we opened it, and
It was really fast turnarounds.
Yeah.
Because we asked them in January. They weren't sure. They really wanted a restaurant. And Aimee said, we're a good bet. Like we've been consistent for, at that point, 13 years. And then February we found out, and we had an opening date of May. We were like, April.
Yeah.
So April. So it was
Wow.
just 2 months, and we were just like, we're doing this. So we had to keep motivating
Yeah.
workers.
Yeah. But it has changed our business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Our goal was to always have a place that our community could come no matter what, as long as we were and whenever we were open. So the lounge is open from the time that we open the doors in the morning to the time we close them at night, 7 days a week. And there's room for 70 plus people to come and sit and hang out, and lots of different environments. And there's always people in there.
Yeah.
And like we had hoped, in addition to having more room now to do classes and things, a group of people will come in, somebody will see what somebody's knitting, they might come buy it. Certainly it has affected our sales. Our sales have grown because of the lounge, and it's just a lot of goodwill. People come now to spend the day, and because we're in this lovely town, they'll get lunch somewhere, they'll come back and hang out for the afternoon. It's very social and lovely, and they'll take a break. It's kind of away from the store a little bit too. There's no product in the lounge. It's just the lounge.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and I think also it invites community within the makers that show up.
yeah.
So oftentimes there'll be empty seats and people will just gather, and it opens up people's bubbles
Mhm.
because it might be somebody they never met out in the world, and now they're spending an afternoon talking about yarn.
Yeah.
And we just love community that
Yeah.
way. We love when lives
Yeah.
get to meet other lives. I don't
Mhm.
know.
We just can't imagine not having it now.
Oh gosh, no.
No.
Yeah, so that was a brilliant idea. Let's knock down the wall. Let's just, why not? Let's
Why not?
make it happen. But I do
How
love,
hard to get through?
yeah,
What's the
right,
worst that can happen?
hard.
Right.
We can figure it out.
Yeah.
I love it's bringing people together. And this is where, retail is just so much more than selling products. And for our brick and mortar, you're part of the community. That's what's going to keep our brick and mortars in business and thriving, is if we give different ways to connect with our customers and give them ways to connect with each other. You become such a bigger part of their lives, which that's a lifetime customer that you make through doing things like this. So I think it's just so cool that you're doing that. You mentioned classes, and I was on your website looking at your calendar, and I'm like, holy guacamole, you have so many classes. It's amazing. You also have Darn Knit University. You're doing classes in person and virtually. So you have this nice, robust educational platform, really. I want to know how many classes you do in an average month. And then also, what do you think that makes your classes stand out in the crafting community?
Yeah, sure. So the classes range like 30 to 50 classes in a month.
Wow.
And it'd be knitting, crochet, felting, spinning,
Embroidery.
embroidery. And then we try to just offer a wide array of times. So it might be a 1-day class or 2-day class or several weeks. And then we always offer free classes too, where you just would meet up and work on something like one of our kits or a popular pattern out in the world.
Yeah, and we do like
Yeah.
beginner classes and more
Right.
advanced classes. Yeah. And the
Love it.
lounge has offered us the opportunity to have up to 3 classes
Yeah.
at a time. So we can have a lot of people.
And still room for people to
Yeah.
just gather.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I bet people are like, "Wait, what is that class doing? Maybe I wanna
Right.
do
Yeah.
that." Like, it totally would sell the classes. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
That's a lot to manage. Do you have somebody that is like your events and class person, or how do you just logistically manage 30 to 50 classes a month?
yeah. So for the moment, that's me.
Okay.
And it is a lot to manage, but it's fun. I don't mind it at all. That we have a system for, thank goodness.
Good. Good.
And in that we use Trello to keep track of
Oh, yeah.
everything. But there's also, it's more like a group of like, what classes are we teaching? There's all of us talking about that. And then just the behind the scenes is
Okay. Awesome.
emailing
Well,
and all that stuff.
yeah, great
That's a big
job.
job.
Yeah, I love it. And we'll link to Trello too. I've used it in the past. Easy to use, great project management. I know other retailers that use it as well. So we'll link to that resource. And thank you for sharing that, kind of behind
Yeah.
the scenes of what you're doing. I will also want to talk about events, and you've got some cool stuff. You got sweater camp, you have Knit the River. I want you to talk about both of those events because they just seem so cool and they seem very popular and you're selling out. Congratulations. That's awesome. And then also, what's the secret to creating such successful events that resonate so deeply with your audience? So, first, tell us about those two events.
Well, I'll start with Knit the River. Knit the River, we just thought one year, we're so close to these river boats that are just on the other side of our parking lot. We were like, I don't know, we should
Can't beat them.
join them. Yeah. And so one day we were like, let's just try it. And I think it was like,
We got like a small boat.
A
We
small
reserved a
little
small
boat.
boat. Yeah.
and then it sold out. So we needed a boat that fit more than 100 people. So then we just went up to like their biggest one, which seats like 400 people or something.
Wow.
I don't know. It was just silly. And then that was in the fall. And then everybody was like, let's do this again. So then we did it in the spring and then in the fall again. And then now we have 3 boats in the spring, 3 boats in the September.
Wow.
And it's just a fun 2-hour ride on the St. Croix River. We don't do any kind of classes or it's not like a lecture or anything. It truly is just to build community. And so the same thing happens there that our Makers Lounge does, which is people will sit by somebody that they haven't met before or they've seen before, and it's really fun. And then we sell product on the boat now. We didn't at the
Awesome.
beginning for some weird reason. We were like, I don't know. But now we do. And it's really fun because we bring in some brands that we wouldn't normally carry as a fun little spotlight. So.
Yeah.
Anything else I missed?
No, I mean, I think it works for 2 reasons. One is it's literally 40 steps from our front door.
Mm.
So we
Wow.
get business in the store. And then we also bring the pop-up store on the shift. So that helps. And people will walk off the boat and they will say, can I register for next year?
Wow.
Like it's casual and easy and,
It's a fun day.
they can have a
get
cocktail.
lunch. They get lunch.
Yeah, they get
Yeah,
lunch.
love
Yeah.
it.
It's fun. Yeah, it's very fun. That has grown a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a giggle now. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible setting. It's so unique. Again,
Yeah.
where you look at different ways that you can connect with your community and your customers and provide that for them. And it makes me think of how you were saying, Aimee, in the very beginning, you used to go to these networking events, and that's how you would sell the furniture and you built your relationships and launch your business. You're creating networking events for people who
Right.
like to knit and who are makers. And that's special. I don't think that a lot of places are doing that. We will do a lot of networking events for business owners, but not necessarily more niche in the crafting. Some places certainly do that, but I think you're doing it in such unique ways that really cater to your store and your town and your customers. So that's so fun. And then tell us about sweater camp.
Sweater Camp is a 3-day retreat. It's here in our town again. It's just a few blocks away. It's at a big event center. We started it in 2020, early 2020, before the pandemic.
Okay.
And it was in January. Our town is very busy in the summer. It's a tourist town. So we wanted to do something in fourth quarter or first quarter. And most retreats of this kind will bring a teacher or two in, and they will do classes and events with that specific teacher. It really wasn't something we wanted to do. I don't particularly like to do that. And so we decided to see if we could bring people in via Zoom to the event, which was a new thing in early 2020. We didn't really know what
Right.
it was. Yeah. So we asked a bunch of our kind of favorite people in the knitting world if they would be interested in doing it. And they're like, doing what now?
Yeah.
What is it?
Can we practice?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we practiced with people. It was really funny. And so we brought 7 or 8 people in. We had 60, 75 maybe campers join us. And it was really just lovely.
It was incredible.
It was. It was so fun. And then again, we decided to, like, we would be talking to a person who made yarn, and then we would say, oh, why don't we run to the shop and get their yarn and bring it to the event? Like, we didn't even like this. We were like, duh. And so, people thought, oh, look at this. Now they're bringing their yarn in. And we were like, so put that on.
Uh-huh.
Now the event has and the next couple of years, of course, we didn't do it with COVID. And then now we've done it a few times now in a much bigger venue. So this year we had 200 in-person campers for
Wow.
3 days. And we had people, zooming in from all around the world. And we had a number of people virtually. They bought a virtual ticket. So they signed in virtually for the event. And we have a giant camp store, and we do all sorts of great swag. And
Now we do a lot on purpose.
we do a lot on purpose. Yeah, we have a strategy for that now. Yeah. But that is really, again, people will leave and they'll say, when are we doing this next year?
Yeah.
And it's just 3 days for people to just be and have community and craft and make things. And it's just, we can't say enough about it. It's just so much fun.
We
So
love it.
Yeah.
We don't like when camp is over. And we
No.
even give them like a postcard. So they write home like, I
Oh, I
love
love it.
camp. We miss you. It's just the sweetest
it
thing.
is. Yeah. It's really just, we're so lucky to be able to do it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's so special and another awesome way of just connecting. And you've said a few things here like now we have a strategy for that. We have a strategy for that. I think there's a great a lesson in this that we sometimes feel like, oh, I want to do a camp like that. I want to do a 3-day thing. That sounds cool to connect with my customers, but I don't know where to get started. I've never done it before. And we'll get so paralyzed by the details and by what we don't know that we won't get started. And really getting started is the hardest part. And obviously through your stories, you just got to start. You're going to then figure it out. That's the only way you're going to learn. Like you could give a blueprint on everything you need to do, and another knit shop could do the same thing, but they're still going to learn different things. Like you just have to get started, and you just have to be willing to make some mistakes, to figure it out, and then do it again and keep doing it again. So I love that lesson for our listeners.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a interesting way to say it. Yeah. It's true. It's very true. We say done is better than perfect too. Just give it a go.
Yep, exactly. I love it. Now, you've obviously built a successful business. I think a lot of our listeners are going to be very inspired by what you're doing. I certainly am. And I'm wondering if you could share a couple of the key lessons or strategies that you believe that have been crucial to your success.
So I think one of the things that was very important for the growth of the business, which really has been in the last 5 years, really, was we hired people to work the floor so that we could step away from the floor at times. So that was a big deal. And at the time we did it, we couldn't afford it. We just took a chance that it was right. And, I had hired retail mavens by then. And so they encouraged me to do it. And it really got us out of the day-to-day. We had a few days where we weren't the sole person on the floor, which allowed Carly to do more social media, me to do more strategic planning and things like that. So hiring people to work the floor, even a few hours during your week, is really important.
And it was so scary.
Yeah.
Like Aimee and I kept sneaking back down there, and then we're like, okay, we'll come back up. It was so hard to not go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it took you
Yeah.
about 10 years to hire then. Is that about right?
Well, we had some staff the whole
Okay.
time. We did have
Okay.
staff the whole time, but we were on the floor 2 ways.
Got it.
We just didn't think about the fact that we
Not
shouldn't
being
be.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we felt like we are the ones who
We're
would be
yeah,
best at that. Why wouldn't we do it?
we're the face of it.
Right. Yeah. People would say, well, isn't Carly here today or whatever? But to get out of your own way
Yeah.
and to kind of let your team rise and, you know, now people come in and they're like, oh, Emily's not here?
Yeah.
Where's Emily? Or like now all of our team members have people,
Yes, who want them to be there.
yeah. I think us stepping away a little bit was really
It
important
was really
to realize that we can delegate and things aren't going to fall apart too.
Yep.
That's an
Exactly. And then
important.
allow you to really spend time on those important things too, of the marketing and of the strategic thinking and planning. You
Yeah.
have to get out of some of those day to day in order to do that if you're really wanting to grow the business and scale the business. So, such a good lesson, but it is scary. It's definitely
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. And then the other thing would be I really didn't know my numbers. My numbers were scary. I was in debt. A lot of my first years, I was in pretty good debt. And that was scary. So to not, I guess I could have said I know what my numbers are, and I probably could have guessed, but I really didn't know. And so to kind of take the stigma off of it, like I'm doing something wrong, my numbers aren't good, so I don't want to know what they are.
Right.
To really know what they are, to have open to buys, and to know what your goals are, all of those things were imperative. And I
Mhm.
just never yeah, I never even thought about it. I just bought what I thought I should buy. Most of the time it was too much. And, so knowing your numbers, as scary as it is to take a dive into it at first,
Yeah.
is changed business for sure.
It's huge. You gotta
Yeah.
don't fight it, invite it. I know that numbers can be scary, especially to your point, if you're in debt and you feel like you're not where you want to be, it is so much easier to avoid it and just
Yeah.
almost pretend, yeah, it's gonna be fine. It'll work out. No, you actively have to show up. You have to be a big player in that game if you want a successful store and business. And yeah, that's such good tips for our listeners. Hiring, getting help, knowing your numbers. I think these are foundational. They're critical.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Awesome. All right,
Yeah.
ladies, are you ready for the resilience round?
We're ready.
Let's do it. Best business book.
We haven't written it yet.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh,
don't
I
read
like
business
that.
books. I have bought a few in my life, but I don't read them. Do you read them?
I have a few that I got from Evolve, but I literally haven't cracked an open.
Well, fair
Terrible.
enough. Fair enough. That was a great, very unique answer. I can't wait to read the book that you ladies write. You really should write a book. I'll be the first one to buy it.
All right, it's a deal.
Yes. Best retail technology, like an app or software.
Well, I would say Trello, probably for our business, Trello.
I would say Canva.
Yep. Great ones. How do you
Mhm.
keep up with the ever changing retail landscape?
I'm in a mastermind group of retailers. And so weekly I meet with them and I can't say enough. I just love these women and these other business owners and we are constantly talking about it. So I think you got to be talking to people. You
Yep.
just got to be in it.
Yep. So smart.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
help retailers be stronger, more rooted in success, what's a retail foundational best practice?
So for our business, we're a yarn store. So we try not to say no. So we wind people's yarn. We help them with any questions. They forgot their coupon, we give it to them. We just try never to say no. In the long run, it has benefited us for the extra 15% off or the extra $20 discount. We don't sweat it. We try never to say no.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of our boards that Aimee used to do right away said, don't knit, come in, we're super nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're just,
It's
yeah,
so nice.
yep, exactly. No, and service is selling. Just
Yeah.
provide great service. I love that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you had to start your business all over again, what's one thing you'd do differently?
I would spend less. The first, I don't know, 7, 8 years were hard, real hard. I didn't know enough. I just believed everything was possible and I could do anything I wanted. And I ignored a lot of things I shouldn't have. I would have hired a retail consultant probably immediately, and I would be much more careful. Much more careful. Yeah.
Yep.
And divider.
Yeah. Yeah. Delegate.
Delegate.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are really good
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Finally, what do you think the future of independent retail looks like?
I think it's community.
Yeah.
I think you've got to provide something other than just a product.
Yeah.
You can click and buy a product from anywhere today, but to provide some sort of service and community will just, elevate you for sure. It has elevated us. Absolutely.
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Layton, how can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so darnitanyway.com is our website, and same as Instagram, TikTok, that we use, Facebook, and Amy's vlog.
Yes.
And then we're in Main Street, Stillwater, Minnesota.
Yeah, so stop in if you're in the area, if you're vacationing. I hope one day to see your store and visit you. I'm not a knitter, but I would still love to just go. It sounds amazing. I did crochet when I was a kid, and I feel like I could probably pick it up with a
You could.
class that you have going.
You could. Muscle memory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say I could bring a crochet hook to evolve.
I know. There we go. That's what I'll just do on the breaks. I'll just learn. There we go. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience. It means a lot having you here. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Awesome. All right, everyone, remember that I'm rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Don't forget to join the Rise and Shine newsletter, which is social media news you need to know, sent via email every Monday morning. Go to crystalmediaco.com/rise to join. And don't miss the newest episode of Rooted in Retail, which drops every Sunday morning.